Pretty good for the general environment of the valley. We've seen a huge influx of tourists. We've seen a lot of developmental activities which have taken place on the ground. In terms of the terror actions, also, we've come down pretty heavily on them, and the entire leadership, as far as the terrorist tanzeems are concerned, has been taken care of, has been wiped out, and things are looking much better. But there is still, a lot of ground which still has to be covered, and that is where all our efforts, all our resources are presently aligned to. And inshallah, in the times to come, in the days to come, we'll see a much better situation unfolding as far as the Kashmir Valley is concerned.
के बाद ये देखा जा रहा है कि काफ़ी कुछ आतंकवाद को कंट्रोल करने में सफलता मिली है। क्या कुछ आप लोगों ने अपने टैक्टिक्स को चेंज किया है, या फिर जो लोकल सपोर्ट है वो काफ़ी बड़ा है, या फिर आपको लगता है कि पाकिस्तान आतंक के फ्रंट पे कमज़ोर हो गया?
कोशिशें उनकी तरफ से जो हैं वो जारी हैं, लेकिन हमने अपनी स्ट्रैटेजी और जिस तरीके से हमने ग्राउंड के ऊपर कार्रवाई की है वो इतनी दमदार रही है कि जिससे ख़ास तौर के ऊपर जो चीज़ें हमारे को यकीनन तौर पे हमने हासिल करनी थी, हमने उनके ऊपर फोकस किया, और उनको जो है हमने इस इकोसिस्टम से, सोसाइटी से, जो है आवाम से, उनको हम डिस्ट्रॉय करने में जो है वो कामयाब रहे हैं। बाकी परली तरफ से अगर आप घुसपैठ वगैरह की या इन्फिल्ट्रेशन की बात करें, तो जब वो मौका मिलता है परली तरफ से कोशिशें जारी हैं। परसों ही हमने जो है ऐसी एक इन्फिल्ट्रेशन बेड जो है उसको नाकामयाब किया है तंगधार सेक्टर में, नॉर्थ कश्मीर के अंदर। सो उनकी तरफ से जो है
देखिए अलग अलग
जद्दोजहद जो है वो जारी है कि मौका मिलते ही जो है टेररिस्ट जो हैं उनको अंदर भेजा जाए। लेकिन हम भी उसी रूप से सक्षम हैं एलसी के ऊपर भी और हिंटरलैंड में भी कि अगर कोई ऐसी कोई घटना होती है सो उसको जो है करारा जवाब दिया जाए और उसको जो है विफल किया जाए। एंड दैट इज़ हाउ दिस इंटायर स्ट्रैटेजी, it is not alone only the army, it is a synergetic kind of an effort of every agency which is operating here, whether it is the police, whether it is the the administration, whether it is the int agencies. In fact, I won't be wrong if I say that even the population, even the awam has come out in a big way, in a very positive manner, to support us in all our kinetic endeavors.
सीज़ फायर ने क्या हमें प्रिपरेडनेस के लिए ज़्यादा मौका दिया, और हमें क्या ऐसा लगता है कि सीज़ फायर में उनकी तरफ भी जो प्रिपरेडनेस है उस पर भी कोई ऑब्जर्वेशन?
सीज़ फायर के चलते जो है बहुत सारे पॉजिटिव्स जो हैं वो हमारे साथ जुड़े हुए हैं। अगर उसने थोड़ी सी जो है मुहिम अपनी की थी अपने डिफेंसेस को अपग्रेड करने में, तो अगर मैं उसकी सिर्फ आपको एक उदाहरण के तौर पे, यार अगर उसकी तुलनात्मक अगर मैं उसको वो बताऊं, तो अगर उसने कोई चीज़ एक बनाई है तो हमने उसके बनस्पत 3 बनाई है। So overall defense preparedness of ours, that is Indian Army, has has got a huge kind of an impetus in these last 20 months that we've been observing the ceasefire agreement. And not only has it enhanced our capabilities, not only has it enhanced our capacities, but many things which otherwise we were not able to do by virtue of those fire engagements which used to take place on a very regular basis, has has got a huge kind of an impetus in these last 20 months that we've been observing the ceasefire agreement. And not only has it enhanced our capabilities, not only has it enhanced our capacities, but many things which otherwise we were not able to do by virtue of those fire engagements which used to take place on a very regular basis along the LC, वो सारी चीज़ें अभी हम जो है वो कर पाए हैं। सो हमारी रेडीनेस और डिफेंस प्रिपेयर्डनेस आज जो है एक बहुत ही अच्छे लेवल के ऊपर है। और अगर कभी कोई कारण या कोई ऐसा मौका मिलता है जहाँ पर हमारे को इसको आजमाने की ज़रूरत पड़े, तो आप एक अलग जो है प्रभाव जो है इसका देखेंगे।
फिर आपने मौका मिलने की बात की, डिफेंस मिनिस्टर ने जो बात की, खासकर जंगी बल्तिस्तान को लेकर कि हम अभी लद्दाख और फिर जम्मू कश्मीर में काम कर रहे हैं, लेकिन हमारी नज़र है वहाँ तक है, वहाँ तक जाना चाहते हैं। तो इसको लेकर आर्मी की क्या कुछ तैयारियाँ अगर ऐसा मौका अगर आता है? जैसा
आर्मी की पूरी तैयारी है। मतलब जब भी ऐसा कोई डिसीजन लिया जाता है और हुक्म आते हैं तो वो आर्मी के पास ही आएंगे, मतलब ना केवल आर्मी के, इंडियन आर्म्ड फोर्सेस के पास जाएंगे। सो जब इंडियन आर्म्ड फोर्सेस के पास जाएंगे तो आर्मी, एयरफोर्स, नेवी, हम मिल के जो है उसको बड़ी अच्छे तरीके से जो है उसको निभाएंगे ग्राउंड के ऊपर, और उसी के लिए हमारी हर दिन जो है वो हम तैयारी के अंदर लगे रहते हैं। सो हमारी जो कन्वेंशनल कैपेबिलिटी है आज की तारीख में, हम उसी को जो है रिफ़ाइन कर रहे हैं, उसी की जो है ट्रेनिंग कर रहे हैं, उसी को जो है और सक्षम बना रहे हैं, ताकि जब भी इसकी ज़रूरत पड़े उस टाइम पे फिर हमारे को पीछे देखने की मतलब कोई नौबत नहीं आनी चाहिए।
General Aujla, I just wanted to speak. You talked about enhancing operational capability in this nearly 2023 span, sir. But the nature of warfare is also changing, as we see. Whether it is, I mean, not just restricting to kinetic warfare, but also cyber warfare. Drones are being used in a big way. The technology, multi-sectoral technology is being used to fight wars today. And one of the former army chief once said that the future wars perhaps maybe not even fought on physical ground. So, given that scenario in mind, the changing nature of the warfare, how is the Indian Army preparing itself, particularly given the volatile Kashmir situation, and in the light of the fact that we are completing 75 years and we are looking back at what happened in the first war in 47?
Okay. So from the time what happened in 47, 48 to the time where we are 75 years down the lane, uh, the capacities and the capabilities have, have got upgraded multifold. Today, as you talked about the technology part, it has come and it has been absorbed in the system, in the organization in a big way. Whether it is related to surveillance, whether it is related to lethality, whether it is related to protection, whether it is related to communication, whether it is related to the battlefield transparency in space and cyber. These are the facets where a lot of acquisitions have been done, and courtesy the Atmanirbhar Bharat program, which the government has undertaken, I think more and more of indigenous technology is now finding its way into our systems, into our inventory, and it's all getting integrated in a very seamless kind of a manner. So where we were 75 years back and where we are today, we are, I think, fully prepared to fight a very comprehensive, integrated battle which will unfold in the future by virtue of absorbing all these facets that I've just talked about.
Sir, as the nature of warfare is changing, terrorists have also used, in fact, adopted different ways of attacking people, especially the civilian population. There have been targeted killings, and there have been reports recently that many of the Pandit population is also migrating back. So that is a challenge. I mean, how do you plan to stop that from happening? I mean, spreading that further. I mean, there have been targeted
Okay,
killings.
so it is a challenge, this new trend of terrorism that is unfolding. Yeah, of course, it's a challenge because it's very difficult to, identify as to who these people are because they remain unlisted. We are not aware as to who is a terrorist, who is a criminal, what is the type of act that he is going to do. So that is where things are a little difficult for us. But nonetheless, again, over the last about 6 months, in fact, since last October, since this trend started, we made a lot of gains. We've understood their strategy. We've gone deep into analyzing and assessing as to how they've been executing things on the ground. So उन सब का निचोड़ जो है, now we have formulated a particular plan. But more to say about this kind of happenings or incidents which get executed on ground, these are acts of cowardice. These are acts of sheer frustration when you come across किसको पकड़ रहे हैं, वो किसको टारगेट कर रहे हैं. These are soft elements. लेबरर हैं वो, इधर के लिए ही आए हुए हैं, आप आवाम की मदद के लिए ही जो है उनको बुलाया गया है. These are acts which are absolutely shameful and should be condemned at every possible level. But to weed out this kind of a category who is now indulging in all these acts of criminalism, if I have to say, more than terrorism, is something which we are focusing on. And like I said earlier, our strategies, our plans also keep getting evolved based on the circumstances and the situation as it unfolds. So we are now homing on to them along with the regular terrorists.
So, you have spoken about the soft targets, all of these people who come from different parts of the country. Is there any effort from the army? Because everyone is looking at the army with a lot of hope. Are you making any efforts in future to instill some sense of confidence about their security? I mean,
देखो, we are part and parcel of the security dynamics as far as Valley is concerned. So Army is very much one of the major tools which is there with the UT administration. It is also our moral responsibility to ensure that nothing of this nature happens, and we keep dominating, and we keep executing our operations where a certain amount of deterrence is taking place, and before these people are able to execute something, we are able to get hold of them. So that is of course the prime objective, but uh, in such a huge place with such a huge population which is there, every nook and corner to be dominated and looked after and controlled is a very difficult proposition. But like I said, endeavors are on, and we hopefully would succeed, because many efforts have been put into place where such inimical elements are now being targeted and focused upon, so that they are weeded out or taken control of much before they get into some kind of a negative act.
So on that same question, I want to do a follow-up. Especially after August 5, 2019, I want to put this question, sir. You will agree with me that in some section of society there is still that the trust deficit that both the civilian government as well as the army is trying to bridge that gap, sir. In this 2 year period, sir, or 3 year period, sir, since the abrogation of the Article 70, what are the major steps that army has taken essentially to kind of bridge that gap
Okay.
and
So
to bring
since we
that
have the largest footprint on ground, other than of course the administrative part, so we are the ones who are connecting with the Awam on a very regular basis. The type of connect that Army has with the local Kashmiri, I think, is cannot be cannot be actually compared with any other agency that is operating within the valley, other than the administration that I just talked about. The confidence level also with the Awam with the army is very positive, और इस पॉजिटिविटी को ही जो है हम आगे बढ़ाना चाहते हैं, सो दैट हमारा कनेक्ट उनकी पॉजिटिविटी collectively we are able to go in the rightful direction, where this rightful direction thereafter, with the support of the administration and the other agencies which are working alongside together, we can go in for this better Kashmir or the Naya Kashmir that we talk about. So it is a synergetic kind of an effort which has to be put into place. But being the largest stakeholder, whether it is aspects related to Sadbhavna, whether it is aspects related to giving them education, whether it is aspects related to our program called Sahi Rasta, where people who are likely to get or fall prey onto the negative side, they are identified and put onto a cycle where they are reformed in the positive manner, and aspects related to journal development, especially in the remote areas and all. That is where we endeavor with the limited capacities that we have, other than the kinetic operations that we undertake on ground. So it's a combination of both the kinetic and the non-kinetic domain that together we are going ahead. और देखते हैं इसके अंदर how best in terms of perception management that we do, in terms of other work that goes on, how we can shape up the entire society, which as of now, if I have to say, is showing a lot of positivity. There are a lot of pluses, there are a lot of aspects which are showing lots of highs. So overall, when we do a little bit of analysis, we do a little bit of assessment, all the endeavors, all the actions that we are putting on ground, I think are showing some kind of positive results. But again, like I said, there is a lot of ground which needs to be covered. There is a lot of distance which has to be traveled. Uh, we are confident that we are on the rightful path, and in times to come, we will be able to, go to the point where we intend to.
And do you think that the boost in tourism is a sign of that?
Oh, it's a great positive. It's a great positive. So um, I would say the better parameters that we've seen this year, such a tourist influx, and the economics of this valley, and the understanding and their liking and the aspirational thoughts that these people had, over the last about 6-8 months of tourism footfall that we've seen. I'm sure that in year 2023, you would see a bigger number coming into the valley. So overall, it's a huge positive.
Sir, and yes, don't you think it's indicative of greater local involvement than before, perhaps?
देखो, there are a number of factors which are associated, why this terminology that you refer to us or refer to, because for us, he is a terrorist. Anybody who's doing an act of terror is a terrorist, whether he
चुनाव आयोग
does it in a sane peace of mind or he does it in a
जिसको
insane peace
एमएसडीपी
of
का
mind.
प्रोग्राम कहा जाता है उत्तर प्रदेश
Yeah,
में
it is. That
कोई
is why
गुना
I
तो
said
नहीं
that it is a call of
प्रदेशों में
concern,
होता
because
है
this is where the society gets roped in a different kind of a manner. So, but all these people who are indulging in this kind of an activity, largely what we've assessed is that these are petty criminals. These are petty defaulters who are indulging because of certain desires, certain I would say very small kind of incentives, whether it is drugs, whether it is money, whether it is some minimalistic kind of modes of radicalization. So these are aspects which are related, and these are the aspects which are giving them a little bit of surge to get into or getting involved into activities like this before they actually realize as to what actually they are going to do on the ground. So that is where it is, and of course we are addressing that.
And seemingly, sir, the terrorist has also changed his tactics in a number of ways. Because from the earlier modus operandi of perhaps bringing in AKs, and also he's starting to use drones and lot of small pistols and such kind of things, including drugs also. So don't do you think there's a change in his tactic also, and is it because of greater pressure from this side?
uh, with the type of domination that we've exerted on ground, with the type of damages that have been inflicted onto them, with the virtual dissemination of their rank and file in the valley which has happened, they are short of many a things. And by getting equipments or getting weaponry from across through drones is one, because the manner in which we've strengthened our LC, the line of control, there is there is rarely a chance that he may be able to sneak through. It is so robust and it is so strengthened on ground. So what does he do? How does he get the equipment that he wants for executing all these nefarious activities that he's formulated for himself? So he has changed his strategy, and now he's gone south of Bir Punjab, considering the fact that the areas north of Pir Panjal are well strengthened. So he shifted his focus south of Pir Panjal, and in south of Pir Panjal also the areas, particularly when we talk about areas in Punjab, or the parts of Jammu, Samba, Kathua. Those are the areas which are seeing this drone activities. Those are the areas which are seeing these tunnels through which whatever, whether it is the equipment or the terrorists themselves, they are coming through. Then certain areas of maybe Rajouri Punch, we have had indicators, we've had inputs related to that, but it's largely been Punjab and the Jammu region which has shown these trends. So of course, wherever he feels the pressure, wherever he feels suffocated, he tries to diversify or tries to move into a different direction. So that is exactly what he's done. It is all courtesy the hard work and the pressure and the domination that has been exerted upon him here in the valley, and the type of results in which all the agencies have been able to achieve over over a period of time. And these are all concerted efforts. It's a very coherent kind of an approach which has been put into place, and that is where they feel the heat while operating here, and that is where the shift and the methodology and the tactics and their plans, as you've seen this change happening.
So for last the use of IDs, sir, because we see videos of IDs being recovered and then exploded why our library. So this is also a reflection of it.
Yeah, that is also a reflection. And again, like I said, acts of cowardice and acts of frustration, ID also falls into that same category. While you talked about the different sets of terrorists which are, or this new trend which we are talking about, ID remains one of the biggest threats that we have today, because the type of damage it does, and it is so easy to plant, and so big which can be achieved. So that is where he indulges, because if you have to create something exemplary, something phenomenal, then ID is the best bet, where you don't expose yourself but still you are able to execute or do the damage. So it remains a threat, and and we remain soft because of the virtue of the activities that we do, or the vulnerable spots, or the sensitivities that are there existing on ground. And when you relate it with the ID aspect, yeah, it remains something that we have to be very, very watchful for.
And there has been an assessment that a lot of drones have been able to kind of, enter our.
Yeah, not in 15 core, predominantly in towards south of Pir Panjal, and like I mentioned, it is the Jammu region which has seen this influx. यहाँ पे जो है ड्रोन एक्टिविटी जो है वो नहीं हुई है, यहाँ पे ज़्यादा जो है थोड़ा सा इन्फिल्ट्रेशन के ऊपर जोर रहता है, which this year has seen minimum numbers. मतलब this calendar year in 2022 we've seen the minimum infiltration taking place, which is again a high. Just 8 of them, 8 numbers. मतलब not in terms of the 8 successful infiltrations. It is 8 terrorists who have possibly infiltrated, जिसके बीच में से भी we eliminated 3. So बाकी 5 का we are not sure, and कि भाई whether they have got eliminated or not, but that is the overall figure. So which is hardly anything when you look at 350 or yeah, lowest this year. In the last 32 years of insurgency, this has been the lowest figure of infiltration this year
In North Kashmir.
in North Kashmir in 15 core.
And when you say 8 is the number of terrorists,
Terrorists who have possibly,
group also, the number of violations could be
it could be 3 groups in which 8 terrorists have infiltrated, or it could be 2 groups in which 8 terrorists have infiltrated, but only 8 terrorists have got infiltrated, out of which 3 have been eliminated on ground.
Thank you. So on the LOC, I just want to mention a point that it's something is almost impenetrable that they have to use the other route to enter through. It's a 740-kilometer stretch, but there were talks about installing smart infrastructure as part of the LOC.
Yeah.
What's the status of that? If you brief?
Yeah, a number of,
be hybrid.
yeah, number of places. This what you talked about earlier. This technology has been absorbed. The smartization of the obstacle system, which is there, that has happened. The large number of, I would say, equipments which have been put into place there along the fence, in terms of our surveillance, in terms of our reach. So we are able to pick up any activity on the enemy side at a larger distance than what it was before. So when we talk about the strengthening part, it is not only the physical strengthening, it is strengthening in terms of the technology that has come and which has been put into effect and put on ground to enhance our effectiveness.
So what percentage of it will be like totally enhanced?
मतलब, yeah, I won't tell you in terms of the percentage because it has got implications, but you can be rest assured that at all the critical and the vulnerable places, the area has been taken care of.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you.
I
Thank you.
have a question. Two things, like seeing Chinese equipment and weapons that we are seizing these days. So your take on that. So one thing is that, and second thing is, how big is drugs a problem? Because what
Okay.
was happening in Punjab is now happening in Kashmir.
Yeah. So as far as the equipment is concerned, a lot of Chinese equipment coming from across. But then, when you look at the Western adversary, when you look at Pakistan, the major arms or weapons that he takes or acquires or imports is from China, because China being whatever friend that he has.
We never say it out loud that we have seen Chinese equipment. Like whenever we see anything like that comes that has a Pakistani marking on it, it gets into the.
No, it happens whenever we apprehend anything. It is everything or whichever make it is highlighted, and it is highlighted up the chain. Everyone is aware. Second, about the narco, yeah, it is a big nuisance. It is something which is now poisoning the society in a big way, and by virtue of the smuggling which is taking place, by virtue of the money which is coming back, courtesy this trade which is happening, uh, it is not a good sign as far as the Kashmiri society is concerned, and that is what concerns us, that is what is worrisome, and that is what perturbs us. And those steps are being taken to ensure that the supply doesn't come at least from our area, but then the country is huge. There are many other places from where it can be smuggled in. Uh, the we are still at a very nascent stage, and our apprehensions are that it is best that we capture this or arrest this trend at this point of time before it manifests into something where gang wars start, where people get into a mode where for a very small kind of incentive he does something very big, and the entire society or the population has to pay a huge price. So endeavors are on. The administration is pretty sensitive to this particular fact, and we are also pretty sensitive. So along the LC, which is our domain, we do make endeavors, and huge consignments have been caught. But again, it's a very small number when you look at the overall figures of what would have got smuggled, because what we catch is just the tip of the iceberg.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. That you want, or you want to shoot randomly, and I can keep answering. Everything is fine.
So would you like to make opening remarks or can we begin?
ओपनिंग नहीं, ओपनिंग स्टेटमेंट किस संदर्भ में आप लेना चाहते हो? ठीक है,
Question will be also related to this.
ओके, सो I'll make it very brief kind of an opening statement. ठीक है. ओके जेंटलमैन, एज मतलब इंग्लिश में चलेगा? अच्छा, मैं दोनों चल सकता है. ओके, आई प्रेफर इंग्लिश. जितना हो सकता है बीच बीच में जो है हिंदी भी आ जाएगी अपने आप. ठीक है. Okay, gentlemen, as far as when we talk about the security situation opposite 15 Court, along the LC, it's normal, very much under control. I would say firmly under control. When we talk about the hinterland situation, here also the situation is much better. A lot of parameters which are showing signs of normalcy, and the challenge for us is to ensure that we are able to sustain these parameters of normalcy that we are seeing on a daily basis. Year 22 has been pretty good for the general environment of the valley. We've seen a huge influx of tourists. We've seen a lot of developmental activities which have taken place on the ground. In terms of the terror actions also, we've come down pretty heavily on them, and the entire leadership as far as the terrorist regimes are concerned has been taken care of, has been wiped out, and things are looking much better. But there is still a lot of ground which still has to be covered, and that is where all our efforts, all our resources are presently aligned to. And inshallah, in the times to come, in the days to come, we'll see a much better
तो उसमें आप इन
situation
चीज़ों को उठाते हैं, तो इसलिए हमने
as
कहा
far
है
as the Kashmir Valley is
चुनाव
concerned.
आयोग जो घोषणा है, ये जो चुनाव की
हुकूमत की मिस गवर्नेंस चुनाव में, और बहुत से और भी मुद्दे रहेंगे. विधानसभा के इंडिविजुअल इश्यूज हैं, प्रॉब्लम्स हैं.
अभी जो मोरबी में हादसा हुआ है सर, क्या वो कोई मुद्दा होगा वोटर उस हादसे को लेकर?
कोशिशें उनकी तरफ से जो है वो जारी, लेकिन हमने अपनी स्ट्रैटेजी और जिस तरीके से हमने ग्राउंड के ऊपर कार्रवाई की
मोरबी
है
में हुआ वो निहायत ही अफसोसनाक है.
वो इतनी दमदार रही है
गुजरात की हुकूमत की मिस
खास तौर
गवर्नेंस
के
की एक
ऊपर जो
मिसाल है.
चीज़ें हमारे को यकीनन तौर पे हमने हासिल करनी थी, हमने उनके ऊपर फोकस किया, और उनको जो है हमने इस इकोसिस्टम से, सोसाइटी से, जो है आवाम से, उनको हम डिस्ट्रॉय करने में जो है वो कामयाब रहे हैं. बाकी परली तरफ से अगर आप घुसपैठ वगैरह की या इन्फिल्ट्रेशन की बात करें, तो जब वो मौका मिलता है परली तरफ से कोशिशें जारी हैं. परसों ही हमने जो है ऐसी एक इन्फिल्ट्रेशन बेड जो है उसको नाकामयाब किया है तंगधार सेक्टर में, नॉर्थ कश्मीर के अंदर. सो उनकी तरफ से जो है ये जद्दोजहद जो है वो जारी है कि मौका मिलते ही जो है टेररिस्ट जो हैं उनको अंदर भेजा जाए. लेकिन हम भी उसी रूप से सक्षम हैं एलसी के ऊपर भी और हिंटरलैंड में भी, कि अगर कोई ऐसी कोई घटना होती है सो उसको जो है करारा जवाब दिया जाए और उसको जो है विफल किया जाए. एंड दैट इज़ हाउ दिस इंटायर स्ट्रैटेजी, इट इज़ नॉट अलोन ओनली द आर्मी. It is a synergetic kind of an effort of every agency which is operating here, whether it is the police, whether it is the the administration, whether it is the int agencies. In fact, I won't be wrong if I say that even the population, even the awam has come out in a big way, in a very positive manner, to support us in all our kinetic endeavors.
सीज़ फायर ने क्या हमें प्रिपेयर्डनेस के लिए ज़्यादा मौका दिया, और हमें क्या ऐसा लगता है कि सीज़ फायर में उनकी तरफ भी जो प्रिपेयर्डनेस है उस पर भी कोई ऑब्जर्वेशन?
सीज़ फायर के चलते जो है बहुत सारे पॉजिटिव्स जो हैं वो हमारे साथ जुड़े हुए हैं. अगर उसने थोड़ी सी जो है मुहिम अपनी की थी अपने डिफेंसेस को अपग्रेड करने में, तो अगर मैं उसकी सिर्फ आपको एक उदाहरण के तौर पे, यार अगर उसकी तुलनात्मक अगर मैं उसको वो बताऊं, तो अगर उसने कोई चीज़